Greetings, I'm Dr. Bobby Price, your plant-based pharmacist and nutritionist, also author of Vegetation Over Medication. And this is my story of how I went from pills to plants. So in 2010, I graduated pharmacy school, and 1 year after graduating, I ballooned up to 245 pounds, almost 50 pounds overweight. Now at this point in my life, I was only 28 years old, but I was experiencing inflammation in the joints, high blood pressure, in the beginning stages of diabetes. And so I was attempting to do whatever I could to actually solve this problem. So I tried every type of diet I could. I tried every type of exercise regimen I could, and none of them worked. And so out of desperation, I had read a few articles on, taking a plant-based lifestyle. And so I did. I did it for 21 days, and in 21 days, I lost almost 21 pounds. This kind of astonished me, because I was only looking to lose about 10 pounds and maybe get 2 of my abs back. But at this point, not only did I have the abs back, I was down 21 pounds. And so I figured I'd go 30 days. And at that point, went 30 days and I lost about 32 pounds. And so this convinced me that not only was I on the right track, but I was doing something that was going to change my life, but also going to change the lives of my patients. And so I went into the doctor just to get a normal checkup, and the doctor checked my blood pressure, and typically he would tell me it was high and give me a prescription, and I go to the pharmacy and decide not to pick it up. But this time he checked my blood pressure and he told me I had the blood pressure of an adolescent teenager. And so at this point, I'm working in the pharmacy, and not only do I feel like I'm not dealing hope anymore, I feel like I'm dealing dope to my patients. And so I decided to quit my job, and all my patients were asking me why I was gonna be leaving, but they also noticed the difference in me. I had a new visible neckline. My clothes were hanging off of me. My mood was different. My skin was glowing. And they were trying to figure out what they can do to get what I had going on. And so I literally, from the counseling window, started writing plant-based prescriptions, or just what I had been doing for those last 30 to 45 days. And one by one, those patients were coming back to the pharmacy, cured of high blood pressure, cured of diabetes, high cholesterol going away, joint and inflammation eliminated. And so when I left my job, I left with a good heart and a sound mind, and I knew I was going in the right direction. I just didn't know what I was going to do. And so I took a few months off, and during that time I sort of read, took care of my body, and just went through a few gamut of things that I could do as possibilities. But during that time, I got an email from a group of people in Japan asking if I'd like to come out there and do some work at a hospital. And initially when I saw the email, I thought it was a scam, so I didn't pay much attention to it. I actually sent it to my junk mail. But after a few emails, they eventually told me who referred them to me. And so I took a call. And on the call, they let me know that the job was actually going to be in Okinawa, Japan. Now, I had been doing some research, and during the research, I had learned that Okinawa actually has the largest population of people who are known as centenarians. These are people who live to 100, no disease, and who eat primarily a plant-based diet and die in their sleep. And so I was very intrigued, and so I took the job. And within a matter of 30 days, I moved to Japan. And so I lived there for almost 3.5 years, and during this time, I'm going to the northern parts of the island to learn from these people who are 90, 85, 95, 105, who are gardening, riding bikes up hills, exercising, having very fluid conversation. Just something very different from what I've experienced from the elderly population, especially people who are that elderly. And so it let me also know that I was, again, on the right track. And so while I'm observing these people, I'm noticing like their life habits is not a diet, it's a lifestyle. They're incorporating these herbal teas in their daily routine. They're incorporating sea moss, which they went out to the coastline every morning to gather. They're incorporating these high in nutrient foods on a daily basis. They have these philosophies like hara hachibu, which means eat only to 80%, which is scientifically proven because the brain has an actual 20% lag time. So at 80%, we're actually full. And so after studying with them for about 3.5 years, I just decided it was time to move along. So I decided I was just gonna travel the world for about 1.5 years and learn as much as I could from herbalists, shamans, spiritual gurus about how to heal the body through natural methods. And so initially I went to China, learned a little bit about traditional Chinese medicine. Went to Thailand where I learned a lot about Vipassana meditation. Then India where I learned meditation and yoga and Ayurvedic medicine. And then I went on to Africa. In Cape Town, I learned a lot from the Sac people, who are a group of people there who are herbalists who live in the mountains, tabletop mountains. They are completely separated from society, and they bring these herbs down into the city during the day to sell, to be able to afford themselves a lifestyle. And so I just learned from them, living in those mountains for a few nights, how to harvest herbs, how to grow them, which herbs heal what. And then I moved on from there to Namibia, where I learned from a group of people called the Himba people, and then on to Zambia and Tanzania, then Peru, and then Honduras. Again, learning more about herbal medicine, and then I came back to the States where I wrote Vegetation Over Medication. The reason why I wrote the book is as I was going through my own experience of becoming plant-based, and again, there's a difference between a lifestyle and a diet, and so how I basically decided to adopt it, I adopted it as a lifestyle, not necessarily as a diet. But while I was having all these amazing experiences, again, my blood pressure getting normalized, and that was amazing in and of itself because I was diagnosed with high blood pressure at age 16. And this was despite the fact that I was an athlete. I only had about 5% body fat in high school, and I still have high blood pressure. So to have high blood pressure for almost a decade, and then to be 28, and for the first time I go to the doctor and they tell me that my blood pressure is not only normal, but I had the blood pressure of a adolescent girl. And so at that point, it changed my philosophy, and so I knew I needed to write, or at least, keep a diary of the things that I was going through so I can then share it with other people. So I began writing the book actually as I was going through my own personal transition. The very unusual thing is once I got to Japan and I was there for 3 years, I learned so much that I felt like I needed to scrap the book and rewrite it again, and I did. And so I rewrote the book again and put all the lessons that I learned from Japan and the people of Okinawa. And then so I decided to travel for almost 1.5 years. And so as I'm traveling, I'm learning all these new philosophies on healing from herbalists, spiritual gurus, and shamans. And so I actually had to rewrite the book again. So I wrote the book 3 times, but I always tell people I wrote the book 3 times, but two times I wrote it, and then the 3rd time it actually came through me. And so that's why I wrote the book, and the reason why I named it Vegetation Over Medication is because the ironic part is that I'm a pharmacist. And so you would typically never expect the pharmacist to tell you that, a couple of veggies has a hierarchy over medication, but that wasn't my experience. It wasn't my personal experience, and then it wasn't my experience in dealing with patients. For years, I probably filled over 500,000 prescriptions, and I've never seen anybody get better from high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, and even the simplest ailments. And so for me to see somebody get better just from eating plants, just from taking herbs, it let me know that there was a hierarchy, but it wasn't medication. It was actually food. And so the saying, food is medicine, was true. But I also understand that there's myths out there about food. And those myths are that there's a lot of foods that we think are healthy and they're not healthy. And so I wanted to dispel those myths. And the only way I felt like I could do that was to educate people. And so that's the play on word, is to educate people about veggies. So vegucation over medication. So in addition to writing the book, in my travels, I learned a lot about herbs, not only just in Okinawa, but a lot of the herbs that I learned were in Africa and also Honduras. And so I started being my first guinea pig with these herbs. I started experiencing them for myself. At that point in time, it was 2017, so I had been plant-based vegan for almost 7 years at that point. And so for me, I really didn't think I could possibly get any healthier, but what I was learning from a lot of the people that I was studying with was that herbs have the properties that not only heal you, but to remove things from your body. And so that's why in the second chapter of my book, I talk a lot about how toxicity, especially the toxicity from food, is what really causes a lot of the disease in our bodies. And so that's why I came up with the herbal detox. And it's a full body herbal detox. And what I mean by full body is typically when you do your detox, you're focusing on one organ. You may be detoxing your liver, your kidneys, or you may be doing something specifically for your gut. But to really get the full benefits of herbs, you have to do a full body detox, because most people not only are toxic, but they have between 10 and 25 pounds of undigested food in their gut. And with that being said, it's going to back up not only the elimination pathways in your colon, but all the elimination pathways in your body. And so that's why I designed a detox. One part of the detox is the parasite candida cleanse. And that removes parasites and candida that come from all that undigested food in your gut. But it also cleanses your liver, your kidneys, and your lymphatic system and blood while nourishing you. The second part of the detox is the tummy detox, and that is exactly what it sounds like. It detoxes and nourishes your gut. And so typically people will go get something like a colon cleanse, but the colon is only 7 feet of your entire digestive tract. Your entire digestive tract can be up from 28 feet to 35 feet. And so that's why you need a full body cleanse. And so that's why I designed the second part of the detox, the tummy detox. And that cleanses out your gut, replaces all the good bacteria, and gives you a healthy gut. So my purpose and what I do is I really just want to educate people. I got into the field of medicine to really help people. And even though I was initially using drugs to help people, that's really what I thought was helping people. And so I was doing these brown bags at church and counseling from the window and going by my patient's home to deliver medications. And even though that was my beginning or origins of how I thought I was helping people, my personal journey just showed me that I could do so much more. And so now everything is about empowering people and helping people understand that not only can you heal your own self by changing your own habits and ways of living, is that your body is actually designed to heal itself. We replace all of our organs, tissues, and cells, but we can only do that if we give it the necessary building blocks to be able to do so. And so my job and my mission is to educate people and to empower people to a healthier lifestyle, not only from a food perspective, but from a holistic perspective. How to manage stress, how to manage things that come into your life through your mental space, how to take care of your spiritual body, how to take care of your physical body, and how those things are connected. And so that's my job as your guide through this process. And I'm just very thankful that you allow me to be so.